BTOOOM in a nutshell. Bomb-resistant tits, rape, and then we have some death, blood, and as for the cherry on top, even more fucking explosions. Now, on to the review. BTOOOM is a wrong anime. However, yes, BTOOOM is based on the MMO BTOOOM that someone has recreated in real life. It takes place on a stranded island filled with many people at the ready to bomb each other into little pieces of Lego for their own survival, or amusement, at any given moment of opportunity. All to obtain 8 crystal chips embedded on their hand. Like with all survival genres, most show people using whatever they have lying around at their disposal as a weapon. With BTOOOM, each participant are required to use these BIMs that take form of a bomb and vary in different types, where each have their own unique distinctive ability. So what would you do on a stranded island with 8 people with the intent to kill? A. Panic while screaming to the top of your lungs while shitting yourself to wait for your potential death at any given second whilst keeping your fingers crossed? Or B. Team up with a complete stranger as your partner and trust him or her whilst taking the risk of potential betrayal? Or C. Deceive your enemy to the very end whilst holding that malicious intent within yourself till they leave themselves vulnerable? Or D. Take on the role of the lone wolf and fight only for yourself alone and trust no one? Sounds daunting, doesn't it? What makes this anime unique from the rest is how it addresses the following issues I mentioned earlier. Seeing characters giving into their repressed desires is truly what makes BTOOOM true to the survival genre, as that's what survival series do best in showing how people betray their morals once they're in an isolated area where it's every man for himself. This truly does make you question, would people really behave in the same manner that these characters act? The plot did a great job in giving the characters that little push to progress the story, i.e. every time the rations were dispatched onto the island by a parachute, it was go time for everyone to battle it out for food. Sadly, I don't see much emphasis on the science fiction part of the show, as the psychological and action take a much stronger presence over the sci-fi, so at best, the mystery that intrigues me most from the show is how these BIMs were created. Overall, the plot is a straightforward, nothing too complex, and easy to follow through story without getting lost. Onto the character. The story focuses on Ryoto Sakamoto, a 22-year-old NEET, scarily much like a glance into my own future. He spends most of his time playing BTOOOM, and is proudly the 10th highest ranked player in the game worldwide, giving him the only satisfaction that he can get as a NEET, amongst other needs.
Yeah.
So don't you dare piss him off, or he'll throw a tantrum and threaten your life with an Xbox controller, regardless of who you are. His personality juxtaposes when he arrives on the island, due to his loss of memory of what has occurred in recent events before his arrival on the island. His weakness is his kindness and how gullible he is, which does bite himself in the arse at most crucial points in the show, which is quite a drag given how obvious Himiko points it out to him. Speaking of Himiko, let's move on to her. Then we got breasts. I mean, Himiko. The girl that has trust issues with men since her worst experiences in life all involved and of course thus, she relies on her taser as a self-defense against these malicious pigs, excluding me of course and everyone that likes this video. Wink wink. Then we got Tyra, the first comrade and friend Ryoto makes on the island. However, Tyra seems to be more or less like the damsel in distress of the show, that becomes more of a liability than useful. However, he's still a kind guy to have around when things get tough. And then as for the rest of the survivors, we got a necrophilia, the otaku, the ultra badass guy with super awesome long hair that's all mysterious, and an anime version of Rambo, and a hot chick. and an Ash Ketchum wannabe who oversees everyone's progress on the island. As for my thoughts on the characters, I liked how most of the characters except for one or two had a backstory. Once you witness a few, it's easy to pinpoint the most common trait that all the players have. Most of the extensive development is more focused on Ryota and Himiko, as they are the main characters of the show, and there's so little you can fit into 13 episodes. I felt the characters really did shine when it came to battle, as many have their own style on how to execute the kill. Take Ryota for example, in battle who relies on strategy to pull through, which excites me the most as I feel more eager to find out what he's got up his sleeve. As he is the 10th highest ranked player in BTOOOM, he would not fail to disappoint. Then we have the other people that sometimes go in Rambo style recklessly without putting a second thought nor simply giving a shit into each bomb they chuck. So it's a great mix to have experienced players using some of their knowledge from BTOOOM and inexperienced players relying on their own natural instincts for survival. The animation for BTOOOM is indeed remarkable, given how Madhouse produce it and are well known for their work on Death Note and Cardcaptor Sakura. I felt comfortable with how they executed the character designs, as they looked similar to what one would see in series such as Death Note and Ari Bangaku. BTOOOM overall is an easy story to grasp without getting lost, with plenty of action, explosions, and does live up to its name of a survival series, and gives you that thrill of second guessing the end result of each battle that takes place. My only complaint was how they executed some of the cliffhangers, as most of them were easy to predict and guess. All in all, this twisted survival game of BTOOOM, all it comes down to is how you execute your actions, and if you can play your cards on the table right, you'll live to see another day. If not, no retries, as it's not only game over for the game, but for your own life as well. Therefore, I'll be giving this series an 8. Do check it out if you've seen anything along the lines of Mirai Nikki, Deadman Wonderland, Axel World, or Sword Online, and this series won't fail to disappoint. I'm the Sly Dragon 93, click that subscribe button to stay tuned for more upcoming reviews. Later.